On an August afternoon, a boat was heading for a deserted portion of our coastline at full speed. It looked like an ordinary fishing boat, but it wasn't. Its real work was something very different, and was going to involve me in one of the strangest assignments that I ever had.
Jules!
Yeah?
It's a border patrol, moving up fast!
Well, you know what to do.
What is the matter? What are you doing?
I have to hide you better.
Why you do that?
Nobody aboard, sir, but these three.
Parker, where's that man that was transferred to this boat off Cordes Reef?
Inspector, you must have us mixed up with some other boat.
All right, you better take a look over the side. Any sign of anything?
No, sir.
My friend, Chief Inspector Tim Reed, knew what had happened. Another alien had been murdered in cold blood. But without proof, Tim could do nothing.
Oh, hello, Mike.
Hi, Tim.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Oh, Mike, this is Ben. Ben Tepester, one of our best officers.
Hi, Ben. Well, what's it this time, Inspector? Is it as tough as the last job you gave me?
Maybe tougher. You know, Mike, here in these waters, smuggling aliens, illegal entry into the United States is big business.
It's a murderous business, too, from what I understand.
Right. Well, now, this is our first opportunity to slip one of our men into their pipeline. Ben here. Slip him in as an alien, certified, ready to be smuggled. It's our first big break. Providing one thing.
Huh?
Providing he lives. Now, we know at the first sign of trouble, they're going to dump him overboard to drown, just like all the others. When they do that, we're going to need somebody right there to help him.
Me, you mean, huh?
I hope so, Mike.
I can see why you said this was a tougher job. On a flat ocean there, Tim, I don't know.
Why, you don't have to decide right away, Mike. Study it through. Take Ben along with you. Try it out and think it over. Then let me know if you decide yes or no. Mike, this is our first real chance to blow this whole operation wide open.
How you feel about this?
I'm ready anytime.
Okay, we'll go to work.
Thanks, Mike.
Ben and I used the weeks that followed to conduct a series of systematic experiments. Developing an effective plan had all the fascination of a game, except for one thing. Ben's life was going to depend on our winning it. We didn't have much information to work on. All we knew was that Merker's men used an anchor and chain to weigh down their victims. Our problem would be to find some way to slow down or stop Ben's descent. I thought that he might be able to hide some self-inflating emergency packs in his clothing. With his help, I was trying to find out just how many it would take to slow down or even suspend a 70-pound anchor. I could see immediately that it would take more than a couple. 4 would hold the anchor. Ben would need 6 or 8. But how could Ben, helpless inside a net, trigger so many packs? I was stymied all over again. I decided to table that problem temporarily. My next step was to see how long Ben could hold his breath underwater. I taught him every trick that I knew to help him prolong his time. Hyperventilating, dry swallowing, and so on. Even the brief training that I had given him was paying off.
Put up your mask, boy. We'll take a look at you. Here's your...
He had done extremely well for a man new to diving. He wouldn't have a chance unless I could add at least another few minutes to that, artificially. I experimented with a small rebreathing device. It passed air through a chemical which removed the carbon dioxide from it. But it wasn't made in any size that Ben could conceal easily. A small capsule of compressed air looked more promising. Ben could take shallow breaths from it and add a few minutes to his time underwater. But the cylinder was just as difficult to conceal as the rebreathing device. Another problem was visibility. I would have to spot Ben quickly, even if the water was murky and dark. This will make it just like the water in the ocean. That's all. What do you think? The answer was some tiny special bulbs that I'd heard about. The chemical action of salt water ignited them automatically. These little bulbs have also given me the answer to how to automatically inflate the emergency packs in case Ben can't use his hands. It's the same principle. The chemical action of the salt water triggers the inflation cylinders.
We've tried it and it works.
Sounds very encouraging.
Yeah, but I still won't be able to get to him in time. We've stretched Ben's time limit to 4 minutes underwater, but that's not long enough.
I'm sure I could stretch it to 5 minutes with more practice.
No, it still wouldn't be safe.
So, what's the verdict, Mike?
I'm sorry, Tim, but I don't know how it can be done.
I'm willing to try it with just what we have got. Why, you could be dropped right over me by helicopter.
Ben, there's only one way that I can be sure that I'll reach you within the 4-minute margin. That's if I were right there in the boat with you the moment you were thrown over. And I can't imagine our murdering friends inviting me aboard, can you? Hey, wait a minute. I got an idea. This fella, Merker?
Yeah?
Does he still keep his boat moored at the 10th Street slip between trips?
That's right. But if you're thinking about hiding out on board, it won't work. We tried that before.
Give me until tomorrow, huh? I still haven't said no. I could only approach Merker's boat underwater. I had gotten a surface look at it from the distance, so I had a good idea of how it would look from below. I would have to be very careful. To alarm them might wreck everything. Besides, I knew from what Tim told me that they would murder anyone who got in their way. As I had hoped, the boat had a heavy keel log. I went to work with my hand drill. The drill was difficult to manipulate underwater, but I was making progress. Now I had to get a heavy ring firmly in place in the keel log. Then, if I could get away undetected, I knew that we could put our plan into operation.
You'll never get it like that. You might as well get wet. Go on in after it.
I'll get it. I told you I'd get it.
With my preparations completed, I was ready now to take the risk that I could save Ben's life.
They've already sewn the emergency packs into Ben's clothing.
Good. What about my harness now?
Oh, yeah, that's right. What about the harness? I see. All right, thanks. Just finishing up on the harness, I'll bring it right into you.
That's fine.
You know, it's a pretty risky idea of yours, Mike. Tying onto those hooks onto Merker's boat.
Well, it'd be a lot more risky for Ben if I didn't. This way, I'll be right there when they dump him.
What are you doing there?
This chart shows a broad, shallow area. Through here, I'm marking it off. See, if they drop Ben in the deep water, I still might have a lot of trouble getting to him in time.
So when we follow Merker's speedboat on the radar in our boat, you want the Coast Guard to send in the helicopter and surprise him. So he'll dump Ben just where we want him dumped.
Somewhere around here. Right in the center of this broad, shallow area. Of course, it's going to call for split-second timing, you know.
We can manage it. Oh, thanks. Well, is your harness reinforced enough?
That's fine. Let's... Yep, that's okay. Well, we're all set, huh?
Let's not kid ourselves, Mike. We haven't covered all the risks.
It's a risk every time we cross the street, isn't it, Tim? A daring immigration agent, Ben Tempesta, was putting himself into the hands of a murderous ring that specialized in alien smuggling. The Border Patrol and Coast Guard were ready to move in on the ring. But they would dump Tempesta into the sea at the first sign of alarm. It was my strange job to see that he survived this attempt at murder. At a remote dock, he was being loaded into a speedboat. Later, it would rendezvous with Merker's boat in American waters. I had been dropped out of sight of Merker's anchored boat. I swam in underwater. My ring was still in the keel log. I was in time to attach my harness and wait for Ben to be transferred to Merker's boat.
There you are, fella. Another 20 minutes, you'll be on dry land.
That's good.
Now, we're gonna tuck you in some fishing nets. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, lie still and be quiet. You understand?
I understand.
Okay.
Okay, turn around slowly.
Turn around.
As soon as we got underway, I realized that in my haste, I had placed my ring too close to the propeller. I'd have a hard time getting out of the harness without being caught. The pressure of the water was hitting me with much more force than I had expected. Merker's boat kept its course through an area of abandoned drilling platforms. It still looked just like an ordinary fishing boat, but a keen observer might have noticed that every man aboard was a lookout. Tim and his men were waiting for a sighting on their radar scope. Ben knew that at any moment he would be helplessly tossed into the sea. He used the remaining time to take long, deep breaths. This would hyperventilate his system and give him precious extra seconds underwater.
They're just coming in now, Inspector. That's them, all right. Just up here. And going fast, awful fast.
All right, give the helicopters preliminary alert.
Watching for the first sign of Ben. I couldn't allow anything to go wrong. There was no room for error at all.
They're entering your drop zone, Inspector. Now!
Okay. Tell the Coast Guard to start the helicopter in.
chopper.
Where?
There. Maybe it isn't the Border Patrol.
Maybe it is. We're not waiting to find out. Dump them.
Okay, now we move in. Straight ahead and give her everything you got.
I had seen Ben drop. There was no time to lose. I tried to snap the harness away, but I was still held. The force of the water against me was making it impossible to unhook the belt. In another few seconds, there would be too much distance between us for me to reach him in time. I had to wrench loose any way that I could and take my chances with the propeller. I shot downward. I don't think I ever moved so fast. I knew that Ben must be holding his breath desperately. There he was. The emergency packs had done their work and were holding him up. But Ben was in bad shape. He needed to get to the surface fast, and yet I had to move him upward at a slow rate. When we began to board Tim's boat, I wasn't sure whether Ben would make it or not. And we still hadn't nabbed Merker.
Get your feet under if you can.
That's the boat. Open her up. Give her all the speed you got.
Full speed ahead.
That boy, Ben. Ben, boy.
We haven't got you mixed up with anybody else this time, Merker. Ben's testimony will put you away permanently. Oh, Mike, now that we got these three, we ought to round up the rest of them pretty quickly. We got you to thank for it.
Not me, Tim. Ben here. He was the human decoy.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.
was minding my own business underwater when the police chief of a coastal city came looking for me.
There's his stuff. He must be underwater. Hey, I've got an idea how to get him.
Hey, Chief, what's the idea? That you're a friend of mine.
Sorry, Mike. It's the only way I can think of to get you out of there in a hurry.
Well, I'm sure glad you've got a good shot. What do you think?
You didn't think I was really trying to shoot you, did you? Look, Mike, there's no time to lose. How much air have you got in those tanks?
Well, I'm practically full. What?
Good, come along with me.
What?
I'll explain to you on the way.
What's up?
There's a kidnap ransom about to be paid. $100,000. I need you.
I was being rushed through the streets in an unmarked car by Police Chief Al Clark. We were on our way to the scene of a ransom payment. But I still had no idea who was kidnapped or what I had to do with it.
We'll wait here until we hear from headquarters. Now, I'm going to have to give you this quick, Mike. In a few minutes, we're going to move in on a car driven by Howard Stoneham, president of Stoneham Electronics Corporation. You know him?
Yeah. Well, they kidnap his son?
No, this is really one for the space age. This $100,000 is not being paid to ransom a human being. It's to get back 6 memory tapes.
Oh, the tapes they use in electronic computers, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Without them, all of Stoneham's computers are dead, and they contain vital experimental data that's not recorded anywhere else. It'll take a minimum of 8 months to replace them and cost over $1 million. Now, Stoneham is so desperate he absolutely refuses to work with us. He's afraid we'll scare him off and he'll never get his memory tapes back.
What have I got to do with all this?
Well, Stoneham was told to deliver this ransom money in a clear plastic box with a lead bottom. And they were very specific about one thing: it had to be airtight.
You think they mean watertight, huh?
That's right. I think water may be involved somehow in the delivery of this money. And if it is, you're going to have to make a dive for us in a hurry.
Headquarters to 001.
001.
Subject vehicle just parked southbound near 9th Street Bridge in the Little Venice area. 10-4.
10-4. My hunch about the water was right. You better squeeze down out of sight, Mike. Go ahead.
To explain, Mr. Stone.
In there. I threw the ransom in there. That's what came up.
It's down there, Mike. Can you get it?
I'll try. I'm gonna see what else I can find.
Whoever had that money box had a start of several minutes. If I moved quickly, I might overtake him. Or them. I went all out. The canal was part of Little Venice, a complicated network of lagoons and canals. Suddenly, I saw a wall of concrete just ahead. I was in a junction of some kind. I didn't realize just how complicated it was. I rose to the surface for a better look. The canal split to the left and to the right, and another branch came in just a few feet further down. Whoever I was chasing could have slipped away in any one of several directions. It was hopeless. I gave up and made my way back to the bridge where I had started. Whoever had picked Little Venice for an underwater escape had picked the perfect place. When I first dove in, there had been no time to examine the area around the bridge. So now I searched carefully for anything revealing. One thing caught my eye. It seemed very trivial. It was just a fleck of color less than an inch long on the bridge pillar. It seemed to have a couple of tiny wavy lines in it. And an odd combination of colors. Light blue and pale green. At the scene of a crime, almost anything can have some significance.
See those funny little wavy lines? Probably nothing to it, I guess. But it was right down there where the box was dropped.
Well, I'll have the lab take a look at it. You saw absolutely nothing else down there?
Not a thing. A diver can vanish down there faster than anything I've ever seen. Well, divers. Could have been more than one, I guess, huh?
No, Mike. Stoneham saw only one set of bubbles. There was only one man.
And you've got to get your hands on him right away.
Yeah, we've got new trouble.
Oh, what do you mean?
Only 5 of the tapes were returned. The 6th one is still missing.
And that's the most important one of all.
Stoneham here is convinced it's going to be put on the international espionage market and sold to the highest bidder.
Wow. Was that ransom money marked?
No, the money wasn't marked. We do have the serial numbers, though. Now, whoever collected that money is going to have to hide it until things cool off.
I got a hunch where it might be hidden.
Where?
The ransom was collected underwater. I bet it's still there. It'd be the safest thing for him to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mike, you're going to need help. Unfortunately, my men don't dive.
There's a skin diving club here in town called the Depth Divers. I'm sure that some of the fellows will be glad to give me a hand.
Yeah, but can we trust them to keep it quiet?
Well, what other choice have we got? It's too much of a job for me to handle by myself.
Look, whatever you're going to do it quick, please.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. We have no other choice. Go ahead and contact those divers.
The skin diving club, called the Depth Divers, was one of those small organizations where all the members chip in to buy equipment and pool it. I found the clubhouse without any difficulty. I looked idly at the club poster on the door. Suddenly, something registered, like an electric shock. The insignia was an odd combination of colors. Around it was a border, 2 wavy lines interwoven. The fragment that I had found at the bridge must have come from an air tank belonging to the club.
Can I help you? No thanks. I'm sorry to bother you. I was looking for Owen's boatyard.
Well, that's all right.
You know who that is? Mike Nelson.
I realize now that I'd have to do my underwater searching alone. It'd be foolish to tip off the depth divers after what I had discovered. I was using a sensitive metal detector. The search was long and tiring. It began at the bridge and took me in an ever-widening spiral. The canals were so complicated that I had to follow my maps carefully. Meantime, Clark's men were quietly checking on the entire membership list of the club. They were looking for someone with an unusually advanced background in electronics. Whoever had stolen those tapes really knew the score. At last, I got a very powerful signal. It seemed to be coming from the surface as well. I rose to take a look and was glad that I had. This was where a huge power plant sucked in large quantities of water. The signal on my detector had come from this installation. My hunch about an underwater hiding place could so easily be wrong. And at the same time, my thoughts kept coming back to that area marked danger, keep out. If I were trying to hide something where no one would be likely to go, that would be the very place that I would pick. And there was good logic to it. Suddenly I knew I had to have a look. Danger or no danger. I was hunting underwater for a box of ransom money and a stolen electronic memory tape of great value. My search had taken me to a dangerous area. It was the water intake for a large plant. The pumps seemed to be off. I didn't know for how long. This crime had been masterminded by someone with an exceptional scientific background, someone with a broad knowledge of electronics. For all I knew, this could be booby-trapped, and in some fiendish new way. I couldn't know what to expect. Nothing seemed to happen. I began to attach a safety line in case the pumps should go on. I didn't know that the tunnel was wired to send a radio signal to a fast speedboat moored back at the depth divers dock.
Don, quick!
Throw off that line.
Could have been a fish.
Not the way I got that wire rigged. It's Nelson.
I found the box immediately. This was it, all right. I began to look the box over very carefully. I decided not to touch it before notifying Chief Clark.
Where's Gilliam's boat?
We just left.
How long ago?
Just a few minutes.
You know where she went?
She ain't on the bay. She's back in the lagoon someplace.
Okay, thanks.
Al had just missed making the arrest, which could have saved me from what lay ahead. I was free of the danger area, I thought. This was no accident. The boat had been aimed right at me.
Come back here and give me a hand. Water can't be too deep here. Get the spear guns.
What about the revolver?
Too loud.
I seemed to be getting away from the boat. And then, the next moment, it was bearing down on me as if it had eyes. Then I understood what was hanging just below it. A miniature electronic device, modeled after anti-submarine sonic gear, apparently so sensitive that it could track the location and movement of an underwater object the size of a man. I didn't know that the couple in the boat were an experienced, skillful team at spear gunning game fish. This time, I was the target. knew that they could keep this up much longer than I could. I had to cripple that boat somehow, to have any chance at all. Either knock out that electronic eye, or disable the propeller. The propeller was more dangerous, but that would stop the boat dead. That was my choice. My air tanks might do it for me, but without air, I would have to surface. After that, I'd make a run for it.
He's over there.
Well, he's tired out by now. I'll get him.
Cassie, get the pistol!
Where's your husband?
I don't know. I've been here alone all day.
All right, Mike. Bring him in here. Take him on aboard.
Get up. Boy, am I glad to see you, Chief.
Well, those are the two who should be saying thanks, Mike. This way they may get off for 20 years. 1 minute later, the charge might have been murder. All right, let's tie that boat on behind, tow it in, and get back to land.
I'll be back next week at the same time with another sea hunt story. Plan to be with us again, huh?
many varieties of gold in the sea. There is the glistening wealth of the fisheries. There is the green gold in harvesting the kelp forests, rich in vitamins and minerals. There is the black gold of oil, brought up from under the sea itself, on man-made islands far out from shore, in highly scientific operations conducted by men of tremendous skill and training. Helping to make the regular semi-annual inspection of the underwater part of this oil rig, working with the company's chief diver, Dave Halsey, a very useful fellow in any quest for black gold out of the ocean's bottom. There is also the gold of salvage and lost treasures, sought far too often by untrained and poorly prepared amateurs. A gold that more often than not turns out to be fool's gold. The three Pasco brothers were among the eager amateurs. They knew that a valuable cargo vessel had gone down somewhere in this coastal area. They had learned about a trick used by professionals, attaching an underwater microphone to a lead pipe and dragging it along the bottom, then listening for the sound of metal hitting against metal. They heard the sound they had been hoping for. At that moment, they would have sworn that this was the luckiest day of their lives. It was to be exactly the opposite. And for a while, even though I was miles away, it looked as though it would be my unluckiest day, too. Amateurs searching for salvage can make a lot of mistakes, dangerous mistakes. They don't bother to get advance information about things like what caused the wreck, the construction of the ship, and the type of cargo. Well, the Pasco brothers hadn't bothered either. Part of the cargo consisted of huge, tremendously heavy spools of lead cable lashed to the deck itself. As they moved among the 2-ton spools, they had no sense of danger. The youngest brother, Hub, fumbled with a pin anchoring one of the spools, trying to figure out how it was held. In a second, it had happened. Jack was pinned, held by one leg. Impossible to move him, no matter how desperately they tried. The brothers realized that if they waited until their air ran low, the trapped man wouldn't have a chance. They had to bring help in a hurry, and fresh tanks. Chuck stayed with the injured man while Hub started for aid. The shore was much too far to get to and return in time. There was only one hope, the oil platform, sitting out in the sea just a few miles away.
wanted an apple.
It's too late.
Why is it too late?
Well, it took me 20 minutes to get over here, and it'll take me 20 minutes to back, and he's only got 10 minutes of air left. He'll die. What am I going to do? He's got 4 wonderful kids at home. What can I tell his wife? I got him into all of this.
Dave, that helicopter. When's it due back?
Should be here right now. There it is.
It's a landing pad up top. That helicopter is our only contact between here and the shore. Makes a round trip every half hour. You're in luck.
Thank God. Thank God.
Let's see now. You said it took you about 20 minutes to get here. It'll take us about 5 to get back.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
You pull yourself together. You're going to have to direct us back there in that helicopter. Dave, I'll take the full tanks with me. You refill the others and bring them in his boat. We'll probably need them. And bring some heavy line and, well, whatever else you think we might need, huh?
Right.
And notify the Coast Guard.
Brothers' dinghy, moored over the wreck, was very easy to spot.
Forget to bring the other spare tank now, you hear? You hear me?
Yeah.
My gas is getting low, Mike. I'll go back and guide the boat, then I'll have to go in. Good luck.
Okay.
We got there while they were on their last 5 minutes of emergency air. The extra tanks would give us plenty of air and additional precious time. In the helicopter, I had thought of something that just might work. I would wedge a rubber raft between the spool and the wall. When I inflated the raft, it might push back the spool just far enough and long enough for them to pull the man free. It was a gamble, but it was worth trying. The weight bearing down on it would be tremendous. I hoped for the best. The weight was just too great. The rubber had collapsed. We were back where we had started. As I looked at the trapped man, I could see that his strength was failing. The question now was whether this man could last until we found an answer. If we found an answer. A diver in search of salvage had been trapped under a piece of deck cargo, a tremendously heavy spool of lead cable. His two brothers had been unable to free him. I had failed also. The trapped man's strength was ebbing fast. There had to be some way to help him before it was too late. With that enormous weight pinning his leg down, there couldn't be much time left. Looking up, I saw that Dave had arrived with the boat. I motioned to the brothers that I would surface and return. They understood.
Not good. He's weakening fast. If he passes out, that's it.
I brought everything I could think of. First aid kit, crowbars, line.
You bring a jack by any chance?
No, there's nothing big enough.
How much line?
300 to 400 feet.
All right, give me an end of it, huh? Tie the other end onto the boat. I'm gonna pass this line through that spool down there. When I jerk the marker buoy, you pull it on. Give this engine everything it's got. You can pull that spool up just 2 feet for 2 seconds. We're working clear.
Yeah, but this is an awful light boat. What if I can't?
You can. You've got to.
It didn't take long to slip the rope through the drum and tie it securely. The rest would depend on the pulling power of the boat above. I signaled that we were ready. Nothing had budged. It was another failure. The brothers had been below too long. I sent them to the surface. and did my best to comfort the trapped man.
Nelson sent us up. I guess we're getting groggy. He wants you down.
How's your brother now? It's no good.
Look, we need a heavier boat. Where's the Coast Guard?
It's on its way, but it's still got about 30 miles to cover. We'll be dead by then. Not if we can help it.
I signaled Dave that he was going fast. He caught my gesture. He motioned for the message slate. Said simply, my will, all to my wife. It was heartbreaking, but what he wrote next sent a chill through me. Amputate. Dave protested, but it had to be faced. It seemed the only chance left. Dave's message read, helicopter bringing doctor. The word helicopter did it. I scratched out the other words until all it said was, only chance, helicopter. Dave sensed what I had in mind. I raced for the surface. I had to get there before the helicopter dropped the doctor and took off again.
Sandy, come back! Sandy! Get up the helicopter!
It was ridiculous of us to yell and whistle, but when you're desperate, you do ridiculous things.
Sandy! Hey, Sandy!
It was pure luck that Sandy looked back and saw us waving.
Sandy! Hey, Sandy!
I just don't know, Mike. I just don't know.
All you have to do is raise it up 2 feet for 2 seconds.
But this is a light copter. I don't think she'll pull it.
Why, what'll happen if she doesn't?
If I lose lift, she'll go in.
Well, I don't know what to do. My last hope.
I'll tell you what I'll do. If the company says okay, it's okay with me.
Good. I'm sure they will. Get them on the radio, huh?
I had transferred the rope from the speedboat to the helicopter. The pilot had warned me that when he applied full power, the helicopter itself might stall out and crash. But he was still willing to risk his life to save the life of another. By the time the rest of us neared the oil platform again, the helicopter had delivered Jack to the hospital and was back on its regular run. You can't do a victory roll in a helicopter, but there was no mistaking what the pilot was trying to get over to us. He had received word from the hospital. Our man was going to make it.
Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is fun and adventure for young and old, but it can be dangerous. So know the sport well and don't take any chances. Be with you next week for another exciting sea hunt.